More moves are coming for the New York Knicks as the team's master plan has been revealed. As after signing Malcolm Brogdon, it's now clear what the Knicks are going to be doing for the rest of this offseason as they try to find a way to make Malcolm Brogdon a full-time member of the Knicks, as the NBA is absolutely terrified of what they're about to pull off, giving them the best bench in the NBA while also being the only team that has two all-star starters from last year. The Knicks are looking like one of the best teams in the NBA that, if you ask me right now, if I'm being completely honest, look like the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference and get to the NBA Finals, something that I'm starting to believe the Knicks are going to win in 2026, and we are going to break down how Leon Rose is pulling off sneakily one of the best off seasons the Knicks have had in their entire history, which has a history of obviously bringing in Jalen Brunson as well, and it's obviously not as good as that time, but this is the best offseason the Knicks have had since bringing in Jalen Brunson, and it's the second or third, probably the second best offseason the Knicks have ever had in the Leon Rose era, but it's very sneakily why. We're going to discuss all this stuff. There's a lot to go over with the Knicks right now, and if you guys are part of that 57% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single Knicks update, because we got a ton of stuff coming out on the Knicks right now. There's so many more videos that you're about to see. You're going to have to see a lot more of this ugly face, but let's jump into it, guys, because there's a lot to go over. Look, when the Knicks signed Malcolm Brogdon, it was a really exciting moment, but at the same time, we all kind of knew the caveat of it. The Knicks could only bring in one veteran minimum deal, so having brought in Landry Shamet and Garrison Matthews, things were going to be very tight going forwards. How are the Knicks going to be able to justify signing Malcolm Brogdon? Was Landry Shamet actually going to get waived the whole time? We know the Knicks liked Malcolm Brogdon for a while, something we'll talk about a little bit more later to discuss exactly how the Knicks have had this master plan drawn out for a while now, but it was just also deciding what they wanted to do with Ben Simmons and also trying to figure out the Malik Beasley situation. But Beasley's going to sign with the Pistons, so there's that. But when it comes to it, what we've seen with the Malcolm Brogdon deal is Leon Rose pulling off his master plan. And we're going to discuss right now what some insiders have talked about, because Stefan Bondy mentioned people around the league expecting the Knicks to make a move to have space to keep Malcolm Brogdon and either Landry Shamet or Garrison Matthews. Stay tuned. And on top of that, Jake Fisher mentioned that league sources say the Knicks have begun to weigh various trade scenarios to provide needed distance from the second apron in the event that they wish to keep both Landry Shamet and Malcolm Brogdon. One of the few possibilities that could easily be executed is parting with Pacome Dadier. Now, obviously, I don't want the Knicks to trade Pacome Dadier if they can prevent it, because I love Pacome. I'm a huge fan of him. I have his jersey with the wrong number because I have his Summer League number in number 35, not number 4. But Pacome didn't really get minutes at all last season, so there's not a lot to judge based off what he's going to become as a player yet. In 6.2 minutes per game that were not consistent, he put up 1.7 points and 1 rebound, shooting 32% from the field and 31% from 3. I would way prefer them to trade Tyler Kolek, because Kolek is about to be 25 years old, or is going to turn 25 years old this season, and we haven't seen enough out of him to justify keeping Kolek around when we have Malcolm Brogdon, who's 33. He's 8 years older than Kolek, but it's not that big of a deal. The Knicks are trying to win a championship. Kolek hasn't shown anything. In 7.2 minutes per game, he put up 2 points per game last year and 1.7 assists, and only shot 30% from 3 and 33% from the field in general. Now, when it comes to Kolek, it's a little bit more interesting, because we look at TK and we see that when he got 15-plus minutes per game in 7 games this season, he put up 5 and 5. He showed something. However, the shooting efficiency was not there, and I'm now starting to realize that he looks a lot like the guy who plays Dexter's son in Dexter Resurrection. But that's not the point. That just hit me out of nowhere. I just woke up. I'm a little hazy, guys. But with Tyler Kolek, with the Knicks, with this whole situation, it's really, he's the guy that you want to trade, because the Knicks have added a bunch of point guards. They still need some wing depth, and it's easier to have wing depth when you have Pacome. The Knicks didn't have a ton of wing depth last year, to the point where Pacome got minutes in the first game of the season until Tibbs decided, no, I'm just not running a 9-man rotation, not playing Pacome. The Knicks, when it comes to their wings, they have not that much. I mean, their wings are good, don't get me wrong, but outside of OG, Mikal, and Josh Hart, it's not really wing-type players. I mean, Deuce is playing the 2, but he can't be a small forward, so they don't really have a ton of wing depth, and because of that, you want to keep Pacome Dadier at all costs, because he is someone who, first of all, I believe in a ton. His defense is very good. He could shoot the ball. He's got a nice shooting stroke. So I would totally rather them keep Dadier over Tyler Kolek. But Dadier also costs a little bit more money, which helps them a little bit more, because we see the Knicks cap table. They're really, really close. They're $1.7 million away, or 1.4, excuse me, away from that second apron, and they can go into the second apron. They're hard capped at it because of the mid-level exception that they used. They can't go into it, which means they cannot go over that second apron. The most money they could spend is deadlocked at right where the second apron would begin. Because of that, they can't just sign Malcolm Brogdon and be like, whoops, we're in the second apron for a little bit. It's fine. We'll survive. They can't do that. And when you look at the active cap, or the active roster cap, I mean, we see the completely untradeable guys. Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, Mikal, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, Yabusele, Jordan Clarkson obviously can't be moved. You're not moving Brogdon. You want him on the team. Deuce McBride, you don't want to move. So you look at Pacome, you look at Kolek, and you look at Huckporty. Huckporty makes the least amount. So then you look at Pacome, who makes $2.8 million per year, and then Kolek, who makes around $2.2 million per year. I would rather just trade off Kolek because there's not really going to be a difference between that $600,000. So you might as well just trade the older guy where you have just a ton of guard depth to the point where it doesn't even make sense to really keep him around compared to Dottier, where it makes sense. I mean, right now, as NBA Trade Report put with the Knicks depth chart, we see that, we see Brunson, Brogdon, Kolek as the guards, and then Hart, Clarkson, McBride. I mean, Deuce also isn't he's not going to be a third string. That's also the thing. We know that with Deuce. Landry Shamet, Pacome Dottier, Gershon Yabusele, Mitch, Huckporty, if that's the bench. And also, I do think Mitch is going to start, and Josh Hart's going to come off the bench. But honestly, Mitch coming off the bench might make a little bit more sense here, where I'd honestly start Deuce in this situation over Mitch now. That's who I would start personally, because I love Deuce, and I think he's perfect next to Jalen Brunson. The two play excellently together. I know they wouldn't be able to rebound well, but we've seen Mike Brown run a small ball lineup with De'Aaron Fox, and next to Malik Monk, and then Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis. And it was the first time the Kings made the playoffs in 55 years. So when you consider that, I think that makes more sense right now, but that's not the point. The point is the Knicks are as deep as it gets. They're one of the deepest teams in the NBA. This is an absolutely scary bench unit for any opposing NBA team. And because of that, the Knicks do need to figure out a scenario to where they're like, okay, we need Brogdon on this team. That's how we feel. Kolek makes the least amount of sense on this team because you have Jordan Clarkson, because you have Deuce McBride. You have 5 guys who could play point guard. You have 4 who could play small forward, and Landry Shamet is punching above his weight at the small forward position. So that's something that we have to be aware of as well. And the NBA is absolutely petrified of this whole situation when it comes down to Landry Shamet, as mentioned by none other than the great Tommy Beer, who said that after being traded to Boston in July of 2022, Brogdon seamlessly shifted to the bench and embraced a reserve role. As a Celtic, he averaged 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 3.7 assists, while shooting 48.4% from the floor, 44.4% from downtown, and 87% from the free throw line. In his lone season with the Celtics, Brogdon averaged 11.3 drives per game, the second most among all bench players. The following year in Portland, he boosted from that up to 11.7 in just 27 minutes a night. In Boston, Brogdon averaged over 1.01 points per possession as the ball handler in pick and roll plays, the same points per possession as none other than Jalen Brunson. Brogdon also has been lethal behind the arc after shooting a career high 44.4% from downtown 22-23. He shot 41% the following season as well. It dipped last season, but I'm really not too concerned about that. And when we look at everything, I'm fully on board with Malcolm Brogdon, and the Knicks have been for a while too. As mentioned by Chris Persianen, the Knicks have linked Brogdon for a while. One reason that Persianen heard back in 2024 for the organization not striking a deal for the veteran guard was that he was looking for a starting spot that New York couldn't guarantee. Things constantly change. Now the fit is there for both sides. So Malcolm Brogdon, the Knicks have wanted him for a while. They know it's a phenomenal fit. They know he's the perfect backup point guard for Jalen Brunson. They just needed their opportunity to strike, and now they still have to strike. They have to make a move, and I say you trade Tyler Kolek. That makes the most sense to me. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Saturday. Go Knicks.